In this piece, I'm going to talk about how best to set up your camera, microphone, audio output, monitors, and projector if you have one. The two places you're going to do this is either in your office or home, and that setup is different from if you're in a class space with students there as well as students away. So we'll walk through both of those. We'll start out with your home or office. This section will cover both the settings for the PC as well as the settings for Collaborate, but let's start with the PC. When one goes to the PC, at the very base there's a speaker icon. If you click that, it opens your options. This will show the master volume as well as which output source is live. To select an alternate audio output, select the chevron that's in the upper right corner right here. This will vary according to your space and your equipment, but if you're using the same space and equipment regularly, you'll begin to recognize them. For instance, I have speakers at the top of this that are the built-in speakers with my laptop. The second one down is actually an HDMI out that goes to another monitor that also has a speaker. And then I also have a headphone jack, and that's what I'm using presently. Being conscious of these controls will allow you to select the best audio output or speakers for your situation. If you have more than one monitor, it's important that you know how to control the settings for monitors and the display. We'll look at that right now. Right-click the desktop itself and go down to Display Settings. This pop-up will appear. I'm going to cover 5 things very quickly: how to identify which monitor is which, how to arrange them one with the other, how to extend or duplicate those monitors, how to adjust the resolution, and then how to choose the main display. So let's take a look real fast at how you identify monitors. Say I have several monitors up at one time. They need to be arranged in a fashion that allows you to identify each monitor and to slide easily from one to the other. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to choose Identify. And you'll see that the number shows up on each of the relative monitors. Here's an image of how that looks on my 3 monitors. Now, if after identifying them I see that these monitors are not in the correct sequence, I can just literally drop and drag them until they are arranged in a sensible fashion. And I'll hit Apply. There are great advantages to having more than one monitor on your home or office computer. Primarily just for visual organization, it makes more sense. Real quickly, let me just show that if you're using Collaborate and PowerPoint at the same time, perhaps, your first monitor can have the control panel for the presentation of PowerPoint. It can also have the control panel for Collaborate. So every time you share a screen, you're always just sharing screen 2. By doing that, your control panel isn't constantly covered up. With that said, let's just see how to set that up, and then I'll also go ahead and mention right now how to set up a projector with that as well. For your office, it makes sense that you would extend the desktop one to the other for the reasons I've stated. So you would just have Extend Desktop here, and then you'd be able to arrange them as I showed earlier. Secondly, I've got 3 monitors though up here right now because I have a monitor that I'm using as a control panel. I'm having a monitor that I'm using to see my display. And then this number 3 is the projector itself. What I have to do is make sure that 2 and 3 are duplicates. So I have to have either 2 or 3 chosen for this to work. I come down here, and now it's going to give me the option of making 2 and 3 duplicates. So I'm going to say duplicate 2 and 3. I'm going to say to keep the changes. And now when I come up here, I'll see 1 is as it was, and 2 and 3 are identical. And then when I'm using the projector, I won't have to keep looking over my shoulder at the projector to know what's being shown in front of me. So that's all there is to that, and it's pretty important. But once again, the only way you can get 2 and 3 to be duplicates is if either 2 or 3 is chosen when you come down to extend my desktop to this display and you choose to duplicate them. 2 last points. First of all, be advised that if you have a control panel chosen, it's not unwise to make it your main display. So what you can do is you can select the one that is your control panel, and then you can say you'd like to make this my main display. That means that all of the controls and all the icons at the base of the screen will show up on that screen. And plus, you may not prefer to show all the icons on your display monitor. So that's one thing. The second is knowing about resolution. Resolution is always going to be shown if you click a given monitor and you scroll down to it. It'll say what the recommended resolution is. That's very often the highest resolution. However, if you have a projector with low resolution and then the other display with high resolution, it will default to the lower resolution. And that's not significant, except that if you notice all of a sudden you have less real estate on a presentation screen than you did before, it's because of that fact. Thank you so much.